That's right. This is episode 9 of Bad Weather Fans with Mike and Alex, and it's also a crossover episode of the Mike Delivers podcast. If you're listening to Mike Delivers, little crossover, I want to introduce the other podcast that I do, and that's Bad Weather Fans with Alex, where we get to talk a little NBA, we talk a little Nets, Knicks, Nets. If I say Knicks first, I get a little annoyed, but I want to be fair. Point is, thank you guys who are downloading Mike Delivers. Here's a little chance for you to hear my conversations with Alex. And if you remember from previous episodes, we had Richard Jefferson on, NBA champion, former New Jersey Nets forward. And I also had Alex on way back when I talked to you about food, and we talked about what it was like getting food delivered to your apartment in New York City. Alex, that almost seems like a bajillion years ago when I interviewed you by phone and you talked about your preferences on food delivery.
Yeah, it seems like another world ago, considering what we've been through since, and not even just with the pandemic, just, starting a new podcast with you and, just doing everything in the world in general, between that and between my wedding being postponed and between just life in general, that just seems like could have been a decade ago.
Sometimes I think I've forgotten that you went on to Mike Delivers. In my head, is that weird? It's like it never even happened. Like I remember you coming into the CBS Sports Radio studios, and I remember us having a couple of back and forth debates about the Nets, Knicks, the RJ coming on. But I don't even remember that as something that happens. I almost want to go back and listen to that episode. I think it'd be kind of weird and creepy, actually.
Yeah, well, the first one we did was me just on the phone.
That's what I'm saying. Listen back to that one. Might be kind of weird when I'm like asking you these questions that now I probably know the answers to, maybe.
Yeah, probably. And that first one, I think you put out a video and was like, it got a lot of attention on Twitter because people in your fan base really hate me.
Yes, as
like
they
really,
should.
Really hate me for some reason, as they should. Yeah, I guess. I don't know. I just tell the truth. They just don't like it. You know what I mean? But it was like 10,000 views or something, like maybe more than that by now. The last time I looked a couple months ago, it was like a lot. I mean, that was crazy. That was like kind of humbling in a way. Like, wow, people actually care, or they hate to care.
That's a good like combination of
way they
both.
Listen. As long as they listen, that's all that matters.
Yeah, that's right. So that was a video that I put out where you I catered it to piss people off. Like I knew what I was doing because
you sold out your fan base. Yeah, I know.
I wouldn't call it selling out my fan base. I would call it marketing and trying to help my download numbers, knowing that you being a dick was probably more interesting than me going, I love Kerry Kittles. He was great. So I understood what I was doing. I had to go in that direction. But maybe we should do another one of those videos with you just being a complete a-hole.
Yeah, I mean, why not? That's kind of just in my nature. When people just in me in regular everyday life, when I, make friends and things like that, a lot of people, like, after I become friends with them, they're like, wow, man, you're actually cool. Like, when I first met you, I thought you were a total asshole. Like, that's just my natural, my sarcastic sense of humor. Some people just don't get it. And that's fine. There's a lot of people who don't like me in regular life too. So as opposed to Twitter, I don't give a shit. It's just who I am, and that's it.
I'm so jealous of you. When people don't like me, it makes me feel so angry and upset. And I get it. Like, I'm like, why don't they like me? And I wish I had more of you.
It used to annoy me, but I mean, now it's like, all right, whatever, who cares? At this point, I have a wonderful woman, Hannah, that loves me, and that's fuck everybody.
That's a great attitude to have. Can I tell you what you said actually on my podcast that really annoyed me more than anything? The original one, the original Mike Delivers, where we just talked about food delivery. Can I tell you what really pissed me off? You're not going to know this. I hated the fact that you said that you made the delivery driver go up to your apartment number instead of you going down and helping out. That really pissed me off.
Well, that's not just me. That's everybody. In New York City, when you live in the doorman buildings like I live in, it's not like it's a buzzer-in building. That I would probably come down because that's just, I understand it. Like, those buildings are less desirable to go in for delivery men. And I understand, as a former delivery guy, like I said, from when I was younger, that I would kind of like, I would probably come down. But my building is kind of nice. Like, you come in and like, it's a nice building. You get in the elevator, you go up and you go down. Like, everybody does, all delivery drivers do it. It's not just me. It's just the culture, your favorite word, of New York City. People going up in elevators, so that's pretty much it, so.
Yeah, well, this was obviously pre-pandemic conversation where it was a different world of delivery, just to be clear to everybody. But I was just like, you know what? I always enjoy that person that just like comes down, makes it easier, especially when you're maybe illegally parked. At least you did say you tipped, so I'll give you that. But that is the one part.
I always tip, yeah.
That gnawed at me a little bit, to be honest. That's like the one memory I have, more than the Nets thing that actually got a couple of views. It's this asshole doesn't come down and help out the delivery driver. Not my. That's also
probably the way I said it too on the phone. I said it in such a cocky way. I'm like, yeah, fuck that. If I'm ordering food, you're coming up to my door and. Like I'm just. Right. I can see that I would say something like that. But I mean, I have the clip, but we can play. I guess we can drop it in or some point if you want.
Yeah, if I want, we'll see.
Yeah,
we'll see how motivated I am.
Don't bore anybody. That's fine.
I'll see how motivated I am. It's the first nice Saturday I think in a while. I'm looking forward to being outside for a couple minutes. We'll see.
I'll just retweet it right now to find it. Just
Beautiful.
So we have it and remember it. It's actually from December 24th, so it was like right before Christmas that we did this. That feels like 12 years ago.
Wow. Honestly, I would not have known. It could have been October. It could have been November. I really had no idea. So I had no memory of that. But that makes sense because I had my car towed, which is now not even with us anymore because I crashed it.
Oh, damn. Rest in peace.
Yeah. Anyway, you just mentioned the word culture, and you and I got into a little texting back and forth last night on a Friday, and I was finally like done with work, trying to relax, putting the office on, chilling out, and then you're bombarding me with these like Nets texts. I'm like, I just want to relax. But
don't blame me. Blame Dinwiddie. He's the one who brought all that stuff.
Yeah. I mean, so Spencer Dinwiddie put something out, and I don't really understand it. And I haven't read it fully because I think it's just bizarre. I think it makes no sense. Obviously, he's trying to do something for a charity. He does work with Bitcoin, and he's trying to raise money. And he said if he gets to a certain amount of money, that he'll go to another team. I mean, it's all just one gimmick to me. I don't really understand what it is, looking for attention. Again, if it raises money for a charity, that's fantastic. But the whole thing just seems absolutely bizarre that Spencer Dinwiddie is trying to raise money, which is not the bizarre part. The bizarre part is it's so he can go to a different team. It really doesn't make any sense.
Mm-hmm. Doesn't make sense at all. At all. It doesn't make, and it's just like, so if he raises $24 million in Bitcoin, then then the fans get to choose what team he wants to go to. But then what if the team doesn't want him? And what does he do if he only raises 21 million and doesn't hit the 24? Where does that money go? Then you can't be regulated by the U.S. government to go after the guy because it's in Bitcoin. So he's waiting to just pocket the money. You know what I mean? None of this makes sense. I need more information, but because he's not dumb, this guy. I know he plays dumb on TV, but he's not dumb. He's just a very smart guy, and he knows what he's doing with his trolling. So like I don't know if this could be like a ruse just to get money for charity, which would be really cool. Research.
I mean, and he's probably 3 steps ahead of where everybody is. He already knows how things are going to lay out. It's not like let's see what happens and then I'll take it from there. I mean, he knows 3, 4, 5 steps down the line what will trigger and what will happen. So I would highly doubt he's kind of just flying by the seat of his pants with this. I mean, this has to be calculated and ideas, and there's something else to it. But I did want to reference that in part because of the conversation yesterday about culture, and it's like I think you're conflicted in a lot of ways with me because you despise all these Net fans you interact with on Twitter on a daily basis. You don't like the Nets, which is fine. You don't like these Net fans, but then at the same time you see me and you're like, well, I don't care that you like the Nets, but I think you're a legit Net fan. So if I have all that right, I'm kind of trying to get curious to get in your head and where you're coming from and your perspective on Net fandom and what's annoying you on Twitter and what's confusing you about me.
Well, it's kind of like I can tell that you're an old school Nets fan and you just want to win. Like, yeah, you don't care about how many fans are in the seats. You don't care about the nonsense. Like, yeah, it'd be cool if they were very popular. I'm sure that's part of your motivation. Yeah, you hope the Knicks lose and stuff like that, but that's fine. That's a rivalry. But you care more about winning than you do about winning the back pages or winning the offseason and hoping that the next generation of Net fans become Net fans and just a generation of New York basketball fans become Net fans. Like, you don't care about that crap. You just want to win. I can tell that by you. And that's why I was saying like the culture Net fans. And that's why sometimes I send out tweets that are to annoy Net fans because just to mock them and expose them for their nonsense from last offseason, that I text you sometimes like, don't take this tweet seriously if you see this, because this is not for you. I don't want you to get mad. Don't get mad online, about this, because it's the kind of, it's like the younger generation Net fans, the ones who didn't really like a basketball team or used to be Bulls fans when they were younger, and now like they're from Brooklyn, so they're like, yeah, I'm a Nets fan now, and they don't give a damn about the whole history of the franchise. They didn't even know Dr. J played for the Nets. Those kind of people who just it's just trolling, and it's just trolling and trolling. And even like there's the obvious big social media account of the Nets, that of Nets fandom, the blogs and stuff out there that just perpetuates this nonsense and this propaganda. And it's just the kind of crap that makes your fan base look really, really bad. You know what I mean? And like, that's the kind of stuff that I fight back to. And that's the kind of stuff that I expose now a year later, where I'm just like, well, what happened? Like, I put out a thing on the Bleacher Report when yesterday with Dinwiddie, when it said the amount of money that he was whatever the hell it was, and then all of a sudden I'm bombarded by the same Net fan troll accounts that just come at me. There are all these like little ones, or these guys that they call me banana. It's just like the weirdest thing. It's just bizarre, and they're like just like children. You know what I mean? Like, they act like children. Like, I've tried to have normal conversations with them, debates about sports. You know what I mean? I tried to do it, but then it goes nowhere. I'm like, wait, just stop and say this, and it just goes nowhere. So then, you know what? It's just like I just like ignore it, because they're just little kids, and then they make your fan base look pathetic. But I'm sure there's a lot of Knick fans that make me, I'm not like the rest of them, or like you probably think that about me. So I understand that, but overall, I feel like there's like two kinds of Net fans. There's the ones that are older, or just not even older. There's ones that are mature Net fans that just want to win. They care about it. And there's a lot of them like you that really respect. But then there's a lot of younger hipster Nets fans that just want to like troll and win the back pages and do whatever they can to make the Knicks look bad and twist the stories. Every Nets story that happens, like Atkinson he was like the greatest culture king, and now they fire him, like, oh, we didn't need him anyway. You know what I mean? It's just like, somehow it's just always the Nets do everything. The Homer Net fans that are just it just drives me crazy, because those are the ones that are the problem. That's the ones that make you guys look bad, and that's the ones that I expose, and that they hate me. And it kind of makes me laugh, because I'm like, this is just sports. Like, you guys calm down. Just relax.
Yeah, as far as making the fan base look bad, I don't think I think that's a weird choice of words. I don't think anybody really looks at them and cares enough, to be honest.
Okay.
Like, I just don't think that's there. I do think if a fan base is going to build, it has to start somewhere. So as much as I appreciate you saying I'm like a really good fan, thank you. But they have to start from somewhere, and they started from scratch in Brooklyn. So I don't know if you want every 14-year-old that's starting to like this team, that maybe liked Steph Curry and the Warriors before that, and LeBron James and the Heat before that, and now they've gone to the Brooklyn side of things. I could see how that would annoy you as somebody that lives in New York and has been a Knicks fan your whole life. I do think that's something that's just inevitable with sports, and if they're trying to build a fan base, it's going to come from a lot of people like that, and then hopefully they win now, and 10, 15 years down the line, the fan base is bigger. I can see how it would annoy you if the fans don't seem to know as much of the history as, say, somebody like me. So I could completely understand that. But I do think you have to understand this is how fans start, and they're not going to be all the most sophisticated and have the best points in the world. So there's something to that. Like, when I look at Knicks fans, I mean, I went to a Knicks game the other day, holy shit, 2 years ago, and the guy in front of me was talking about how like Latrell Sprewell should be back and maybe he should be a coach. And I'm sitting there and I'm going, Knicks fans are the stupidest people in the world. Like, what is this guy even saying? So I feel some of that with a lot of, I like to call them like douchebag Knicks fans. So I could see from your perspective, as I get in your head, how those people could be annoying, because I see a bounty of them that just really get on my nerves. And as far as the C word, culture, they did change their culture. This is going to annoy you, because you're going to think I'm like, they did. They made it a good culture, and it worked. I mean, it won them games. It got them superstars. Now, do you want to say that it was all bullshit? And in the moment, yeah, I mean, they sold their soul, but to argue that there was no culture impact, I think is ludicrous.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's more perspective. not perspective. I had the word, I lost it, but it's not really culture. It's more like perception. That's the word, perception
What do you mean?
of the franchise. Now people look at the Nets, and instead of their perception being, wow, they're a nothing franchise, who cares? They're dead. They're basically the Pelicans in New York. Now you look at them and you're like, all right, well, you know what? They got some juice. You know what I mean? Like, it's a perception thing, even though they haven't really done anything. You know what I mean? Like, they had 1 year where they made the playoffs, and they signed a couple guys, and that's great. Good for you guys. But they haven't really done anything. They haven't accomplished anything. And that's the thing. But the perception of them nationally is that the Nets are taking over New York, quote unquote. That was the big mantra of last year. All the Knicks fans are now going to be Nets fans. All the young kids are going to be Nets fans. It's a bunch of crap.
So
like, you know what I mean? It just really is.
So it annoys you in the moment to see this perception nationally of a team that you always looked at as like a nobody getting attention. And as someone in your mind, you're like, wait a minute, this is a Knicks town. It's always going to be a Knicks town. But this national perception is incorrect, and that's getting on your nerves.
It gets on my nerves, not because the Nets are gaining fans and are getting bigger, and have their perception is that they're this great franchise. What annoys me is that they use the trashing of the Knicks as a way to do it. Like, just, you don't have to become popular by trashing somebody else. You can just become popular. You know what I mean? This is not like rap. You don't have to have a rap beef in order to inflate your status. Like, just win fucking games. You know what I mean? There's a standings, there's a titles, there's, you know what I mean? Like, just do that, and like eventually it'll change, and then you have nothing. You can't do anything but tip your cap. Like, as a Mets fan, and I'm a Mets fan, and it's like, you can't do anything but tip your cap to the Yankees. And I'm sure, I was too young to know this, but I'm sure Yankee fans, didn't tip their cap, but they knew the Mets owned the town in the 80s. I mean, like, they just knew. It was just like, all right, you know what? This is their, they're doing their thing. It sucks, and I hate them, but that was, they ran it in the 80s. But now it's like, Mets fans, we can't say anything, but just, all right, well, you know what? Like, I could talk smack and say, Jacob deGrom, in his debut, he struck out all these Yankees, but it's like Yankee fans are just like, all right, well, like, good for you. You know what I mean? Like, so it's kind of like, it's just, and it bothers me when the Mets do things that like what the Nets are doing to the Knicks. Like, they try to tread, like the Mets like organization does things like that. It just bothers me. And then it bothers me when the Yankees do it. But it's just stupid. Like, it's just something that shouldn't be what the franchises are doing. Like, the Nets shouldn't be putting Charles Oakley on their Jumbotron during a playoff game versus the 76ers. Like, you shouldn't be doing that. If you're playing the Knicks in the playoffs, then that's a great troll move. Do it. That's perfect. But if it's versus the Sixers, the Knicks are irrelevant. They're trying to get the lottery balls. What are you doing? Like, what are you doing? You just look pathetic. Like, to me, it just makes you look pathetic. And that's the kind of stuff that really pisses me off.
I gotcha. I don't know if it makes them look pathetic. I think that's a little harsh. I think it really annoys you. I mean, it's just a stupid troll move that they're trying to do. Obviously, if they're gonna dominate the city, it's gonna have to take wins. It's gonna have to take titles. It's gonna have to take championships. And I look back to when we had RJ on the podcast, and he said that if the Nets were to pull a Warriors, which is not going to happen, and win 4 titles or whatever they did, 3 titles in X amount of years, they would take over the city. I know that was something that you disagreed with. I don't know if I disagree with it or agree with it. I'd have to see it in action. I don't know if I could comprehend what it's like to have that kind of success for one of my teams. So I don't know what that would do. And if the Knicks were as shitty as they've been and the Nets were that successful, what would exactly happen? But point is, it's going to take something like that to ultimately overtake the New York Knicks. But I guess maybe I keep it inside more, but I enjoy that pettiness that the Nets do at moments. I think it's fun to punish the Knicks. I like to see them suffer. I personally enjoy it. Now, where does that come from? It comes from jealousy from watching this team when I was younger and getting annoyed with them and always being the younger brother and not even quantifying as a brother or in the family. But I always just enjoyed that. And so I don't necessarily care. Like, if they're winning games, I'll feel better about that stuff. That stuff doesn't make me happy or whatever, but I'm not like, I kind of smirk at it. I just hope that they can win too, or it's all irrelevant.
Yeah, I hear you. And Richard Jefferson also, he's kind of coming from he works for the Nets, and he's a Net at heart, even though he played for the other teams, the Cavs, the Spurs, whoever. He's a Net, and he's going to say whatever it's possible to make them look better.
He enjoys it.
He does, and I respect that because it's just what he does. But he also said that the Nets right now are more popular than the Mets and the Jets. So it's kind of like, come on, dude. Like that's what I called them out. Like, dude, like let's relax here. You know what I mean? Like,
Well,
I get it.
I think
get
for
it,
RJ, I think RJ gets into like the NBA mode and
Yeah.
probably isn't thinking of like, I mean, those are some iconic franchises in the
And the
city
Jets
that
are in
it's just a
football.
different world. Yeah.
The NFL is like a different level than everything, especially the Nets. Like, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, I don't know. Anyway, so, but I hear what you're saying. It's just, I don't know. I have nothing else to say on the topic. I can just keep BSing and repeating myself.
I know, I understand. No, it's just always funny how, and you mentioned this on text last night. I thought it was a good point. Is it just always seems to come back to this, and I don't.
Our friendship and business relationship of podcast.
Yeah, I think it does. I think it's healthy to bring it up every so often to get to the root of the problem and the root of the beginning. But I guess now looking at you on Twitter, I view you differently. I don't take you that seriously as opposed to before when you really annoyed me. Once in a while, you'll say some things that can be annoying. But for the most part, there's nothing you can really say that is annoying. And then anytime you trash the Net fans, I kind of just have remarks like, "Are you doing all right?" Like something go okay. Like I don't.
Yeah, I'm spiraling.
I know. I know. I don't. I don't know. It just doesn't bother me that much. Like you would have, if you like went out on Twitter and you were like, Kenyon Martin was overrated. He wasn't even that athletic, and he got lucky because Kid helped him out. I'd be like, "Oh, now we're going." But like you would, it would take something like that for you. It would take something for you like that for you to piss me off. But for the most part, now I just look at your tweets and laugh.
Yeah, well, that's
in a positive way.
It's Twitter. I mean, like a lot of things that I say are, I'm serious about, but sometimes I say it. It's kind of like if somebody, let's say, I say something like, all right, like let's like there's the stupid things that this Twitter trend that was going on this week. The what's the first thing you think of when you see this logo?
Right.
Like that. Like, so I did that with the Knicks. I did that with a specific Knicks generation logo, the one where the shadowing under the Knicks was black. That was like the late 90s. Now it's blue. So I did, what's the first thing you think of when you see this logo? And I did that, and it got a lot of attention. I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. I retweeted a bunch, and who cares? Never thought about it. Was bored. And then the next day, the Knicks social media account, the Knicks actual official account, tweeted out the exact same picture that I put up there. And I was like, you guys couldn't even change the picture? Shaking my head. But I'm obviously joking. Like, obviously it's the Knicks. Like, they can do whatever they want. But, like, they clearly used the exact same picture that I used. Like, it was, like, the exact same one.
Yeah.
The exact same logo. And then people were, like, commenting, like, responding to me. They're like, well, it is their logo. It actually is their logo. You know what I mean? I'm like, so I just wrote back, like, get the fuck out of here. I thought that was a picture of me. Like, right. It's just like how, when somebody says something like that to me and tries to mock me and they're just completely stupid and completely missing the point, I'm powerless from being able to, like, just walking away. I just have to mock them. Like, with a sarcastic tone, and they just don't. Sometimes they don't get it, and sometimes they do, and that's just me, and like that's just how I am as a person overall. That's why people think I'm an asshole in general.
Did you get any? What were the good answers that you got from some of those tweets that you would want to talk about or say? Like, what were some good answers? Funny, on point, or just someone trolling? Anything in between?
What the logo thing?
Yeah, is that the one I responded to?
I don't know.
With the Sam Cassell reference.
Maybe. Yeah, maybe. Yeah. Everybody said, okay, so I got some Ewing, Starks, Mello, which is wrong. The Charles Spurriel, Houston, Oakley, and at center, number 33 from Georgetown, Ewing, Sprewell, Ewing, Frazier, which is completely wrong. Sprewell, Starks.
Was I wrong with Cassell then, if that was late 90s? Because that was more of a 94 reference or pop towards you?
Yeah, probably. But I don't know. When did they put the New York over the Knicks? Was that?
I couldn't tell you that. Yeah, you're asking the wrong dude.
Somebody put Marbury. Oh yeah, you did write Sam Cassell. I said that was mean. That was sorry. I mean Willis Reed.
Sorry.
And then I said Stephon Marbury since he equally pisses us off. Truce, and I don't think you responded.
No, I did I think I was stressed out at work in the time, so it took me a while to get back to you, but I did. And then I actually, work reference here, I tried to manipulate and use you to help me book a guest, and it did not work. So I'm trying to get Richard Jefferson on for CBS Sports Radio, and I can't get him to respond to me anymore. So what I actually did was, in my text to him, I wrote RJ dash at Nick Central's, boom, and from there spieled how to get him on the radio show, just to use you as clickbait to his eyes, to get him to respond. Still didn't work. So you might be losing some juice with RJ. I'm happy about that. Maybe you're not boys like you think you are, and I'm just exposing that to the world.
I'm gonna invite him to my wedding and see if he shows up. It'd be pretty funny.
Think he would?
I don't know. I think if it was in the city, I feel like there was a chance of him just popping in like as a joke, like with a Nets jersey on or something. But no, he won't. I'm won't.
Let's get into this. I'm actually into this. How would you invite him? Would you get his like address, or how would you do this?
I would probably do a public wedding invitation and say DM me for details or something. Like a public like. If you have any balls, you'll show up to my wedding, something like that, and see if he shows up.
Alex, you got to do this. I'm not even kidding now. Can you do this? I mean, I don't want to take away, from somebody that's like on the invite list, and I get how weddings work, and trust me, I understand, and you can't invite too many.
If Richard Jefferson's showing up, they'll find them a plate of food, I'm sure. Here's a piece of chicken, dude. Like, you know what I mean?
Like, I'm sorry, but my Aunt Mildred, you do have an Aunt Mildred. I don't know. That just came to my head. Can't come to the wedding because Richard Jefferson's showing up. Now, does he get a +1 or is it just him?
He can get a +1. He can bring you. No, I'm just kidding. No, it's
that'd be great.
Actually, since our wedding was supposed to be May 24th, but due to the pandemic, we had to postpone. It was really upsetting. But we're flipping it over to next Memorial Day weekend. It was supposed to be this Memorial Day weekend. So now we have another year, and I'm sure people will fall off the list and go on the list. So I know I'm taking this seriously, like it's actually happening. But I would if Richard Jefferson decides to show up to the wedding, I'll give him my food. He can have it. There's the plate. But I doubt he will. Let's be honest. But it would be funny. It'd be a funny little gimmick for bad weather fans to get the podcast off the ground a little more. Even though we're doing well and we're getting better, but having him showing up to the wedding and taking pictures like that would be hilarious. And it will piss you off, like especially if you're not invited. No, I'm just kidding.
I'm watching like on Instagram Live. It's you two guys together, dancing on the floor, being like, "We can be friends. This is great. I'm so glad we got to know each other." Meanwhile, I'm just like at home with my cat watching Netflix reruns of The Office. I'm like, "Oh, Leon, what happened? I thought we were friends. We never made it."
Durant just got re-injured, and Kyrie went AWOL.
RJ's on there, like, you know what? You know what? The Knicks are the best team in New York. That's the franchise we love. I love this team. I mean, I always wanted to be a Knick. Honestly, Alex, the reason that I'm so hard on the Knicks is secretly I always wanted to be one. Let's be best friends. Let's start a podcast together and call it RJ and Alex Conquer the World.
Or Richard Jefferson gets hired by the Knicks as their next coach next year and leads the Knicks and they're winning 50 games like that. And then he comes to my wedding and that'd be even better.
And then he hires you. You're the assistant coach on the side. You're on there drawing plays, and you're in the locker room like, "We need all right, Mitch, get up. You're coming back in." Yeah, coming, coach. Oh, that would be a horrible man. This is actually worse than the Kenny Atkinson experience of him becoming the Knicks coach. RJ's the head coach. Alex is the assistant coach. You're leading the Knicks to a title, and I'm watching this all unfold while Kevin Durant's in a cast.
We'll hire Jason Kidd as another assistant and maybe Lawrence Frank and get a couple guys in there that you love, maybe Sam Cassell also. He's a good assistant. Get a bunch of guys in there.
I messaged Lawrence Frank on Facebook this week to try to get him on my podcast. So we're Facebook friends. This is not a joke. And I sent him like a Facebook DM or a Facebook message trying to get him on. And the pitch was I just wanted to talk about Northern New Jersey restaurants and then maybe reflect on some of those Nets teams.
Northern New Jersey restaurants. What a hot topic. Nobody really loves, you don't love life unless you're discussing Northern New Jersey restaurants.
Hey, there's a niche. I'll tell you this, that my dad would like it. He'd be into it. I can tell you that. I can think of 10 people that would love it.
About Northern New Jersey restaurants. I'll tell you that right now.
Hey, if you want to get deep, we can do a Northern New Jersey versus Long Island restaurant debate. You want to have some fun? I want to piss some people off. I've lived in both places. I can go there. Where
in Long Island did you live?
I lived in Huntington.
Oh, okay. I'm out.
Which is a good area.
I live in the city, obviously, but I'm out at my fiance's parents' house out here in Melville right now. So
I don't really know Long Island. I don't remember it well enough to be like, is that close to Huntington?
Yeah, it's Dix Hills area. So Dix Hills probably pops a little more than Melville. But, I'm from 5 towns, Lawrence High School, and I'm out here. And, I'm a South Shore guy dating a North Shore girl, living the dream.
Is that a big controversy? Is that something is that really a bad deal?
No, it's kind of like, Hannah, my fiance, is dating down. Like, I'm the South Shore trash, and she's like the North Shore. Like,
Okay. So was
it's kind of
Huntington? Was I North or South Shore? I don't even know. Where
north.
was
Yeah,
I?
it's north. I think
Oh,
that's
okay.
north.
Well, yeah. Well, now I'm doing a podcast with some trash. There you go.
Oh yeah, no, I know. Like Gio's from the South Shore, so is Boomer. Those guys. So those are your best friends, right? So yeah, Huntington.
I don't. I don't think. I think if you threw me into a grocery store and Boomer Esiason walked past me, he'd have no idea who I am. I'm pretty convinced of that.
Even though
I'm
you
on the
worked in
record of saying that.
the same office, the same this, the same that, like for years, you have
You
no
know
idea.
what it's like if you worked with somebody in the past and you're like, that guy looks familiar, but you can't remember, like, did I work with him? Was he the guy at the train station that would give me my tickets? Did I see him on a flight the other day? Like, I think he would recognize me and put together that I was somehow cross paths with him in his life, but I don't think he'd put together name and face. 0% chance.
It'll be one of those like, "Hey, guy, what's up?" What's up,
Yeah,
man?
and then he'll think to himself, "Oh, where do I know this? Oh, that's right. He was helped with my car 3 months ago. That's right. He was the guy that fixed the car." Like, I think yeah, he would recognize the face, but he would have no idea who I am.
You wouldn't think
0%.
that you were like a practice squad guy from the Jets, a million
Right.
years ago,
Oh yeah,
like
he used to
LeVar
get our
Ball,
waters.
like
And
LeVar
it's
Ball.
nothing. I'm not. I think it's just. And then for people that are listening to this that don't know this, I guess I used to work the morning show at CBS Sports Radio, so we were not on the same show, but I saw him for 5 years every morning walking by, and he'd always do the same thing. Good morning, gentlemen. It was like this. He did that every day. But I think and he's got a lot going on in his life. I just don't think he would put together who I am. No, nor should he. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, well, you and Gio are kind of close, right? So I feel like maybe he should, but at the
Yeah,
same time,
yeah, but I mean, it's not like it's just
yeah,
hard to explain.
he's got so much going on. He's such a busy guy
Yeah,
between WFAN and CBS TV, and then just does everything. He's always playing sports. He says on a show, so I talk like I know him because I listen to the show all the time. But whatever.
yeah. I'm not interacting.
Anything.
I've interacted with him a couple of times here and there, but it's just he's just in that building. He's kind of like the king. You know what I mean? Like, you go in there, it's Boomer, hey Boomer. Then I'm just another guy in there, if that makes sense. So it's just a different world. I'm not trying to say he's like a bad person or anything. It's just you just got a lot going on. I don't think you would recognize. I don't think you would know who I am. That's all. But worse problems in life than that. So I won't take it that badly.
I mean, we can leave out in the fact that he made me cry after the fake spike game when I was at the game as a little kid in 4th grade or 5th grade. Well, we can leave that out if I ever met him. I never met him before, but I'm sure he's a nice guy.
So that was the Dolphins game. He was the QB for the Jets, and you were how old then? 12? No,
I guess
10.
I was in 5th grade.
And you were at the game. So these funny because these are like the lasting. Is that one of your biggest memories as a Jets fan?
My first touch with heartbreak as a sports fan. I'm in 5th grade, so I'm all over this stuff. You know what I mean? Like,
what year is this?
1990 November. I just pulled it up like I can remember. November 27th, 1994. It was in section 335, row 2, seats 3, 4, and 5. My dad and my sister. We went to every single game from when I was in 1st grade through when I was like 27.
Wouldn't you have already had some Knicks heartbreak with the
with the Charles Smith and stuff like that? But those games were on so late. I watched them, but like I was just so like, you know what I mean? In 94, I was all over it. I was all into them and stuff like that. But the Jets football was just so, like everybody was a Knicks fan, so everybody was upset when the Knicks lost, and everybody was upset when the Knicks. There was no Nets fan. There was no such thing as that back then, And I'm not even trying to troll you. It's just a fact. I'm on Long Island, and the Knicks are in the finals, and then knocking on the door every year, and so it's like there was no Nets fans. So when the Knicks lost, everybody was upset. I mean, there was Bulls fans and stuff like that, like idiots like that. But
no, I'm not. You're not trolling me. I don't worry.
And so when the Jets lost, it was kind of like there's Jets fans and Giants fans and this and that, and everybody's upset. And like I was a kid, so I'm talking shit all week, and like oh, I'll bet you $5. I'll bet you. I probably lost like $15, and that's a big deal when you're in 5th grade in 1994.
Big deal now, dude.
Exactly. So I was probably like upset because like now it's like not only did they lose and I'm upset because I'm like the Jets were my life back then. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
not only am I upset about that, but I'm also now I have to go to school on Monday the next day and face all these people laughing at me. Like, you know what I mean? So it's kind of like, oh man, that was rough. That was a rough
that I didn't think we'd go here, but now it's what I'm thinking about. What's your worst sports loss? Is that it? What's like the
Probably.
memory that was your worst sports loss ever? That one?
That one, the Ewing finger roll, the Charles Smith stuff was bad too. That was upsetting.
How about recent Jets when they got
Game
good?
7 of '94 was bad too. That was bad. But Game 6 actually, I mean, as crazy as it sounds, Game 6 upset me more than Game 7 because I feel like Starks was going to hit that 3 at the buzzer, and I feel like I'll take to the grave that he was fouled on that last block by Hakeem when he hit the hand because he hit.
Enjoy taking that to the grave. Have fun.
Yeah, that's not a foul, but in the same playoff.
All right. I don't need to hear this shit.
Yeah, I'll hear it. Yeah, exactly. But like, you know what I mean? The Hubert Davis call, that's a foul, but the Elijah one on Starks in the finals is not a foul. Okay. Anyway, I know you don't care, losing listeners, right? But yeah, so it was that. So 94 finals, Charles Smith, Ewing finger roll, the fake spike game as a kid. There's so many Jets ones. I'm trying.
Mets.
Oh, Mets was the Beltron. That was the worst. The Beltron frozen. You know, like, oh my god. That funny story. I was actually I went to Oneonta, and then after I was done in Oneonta, I still my girlfriend still lived there. My ex-girlfriend still lived there at the time. So I was in her dorm room watching the Mets game. We were getting ready. We were going to go out afterwards. And I'm into him going crazy, and like Chavez makes the catch. I'm going nuts and screaming. She didn't get sports either. You know, she had a little brother, but she didn't get it like to that level. And then, you know, he struck out, and I just sat there for a second, like what the? I was like, what the? And I just started throwing. I never threw things ever in my life from a sporting event. Even like I would just get sad or mad, but like I just started throwing things. She's like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Can you get out of here? Like, you know what I mean? Like she basically kicked me out in the middle of like Oneonta. It was pretty funny. It's funny now. I mean, she's my ex-girlfriend. I don't give a shit. But it was just funny. You know, like I was just like, that was bad. That Mets one was bad.
Yeah, you and I, that's the one team I guess we share in liking. I don't think we've really talked much Mets together, but that's like the one team that we, I guess, would connect and bond over. Yeah. So I have a distinct memory of that as well. I was working for the University of I was working in Charlottesville, Virginia, and I was doing radio part-time, and I actually got an opportunity to work and help the UVA football team, and it was a really good work experience, I guess, and that game was on a Thursday night. I remember this because Virginia and North Carolina were playing each other on the Thursday night ESPN football game, so I couldn't get to watch this game, which was driving me nuts, and this is back in 2006, so it's a little harder to get score updates on your phone. It's not like now where you could watch it on your phone if you wanted to. It was just a different world.
Or you can at least check the score.
At least check it. So I remember being on the sidelines, and they had like a little, I was helping out, just doing odd ends of things. If somebody needed this, somebody needed that, basically being like a glorified gopher, but still I got my foot in the door. So I wanted to do it. And I'll never forget, Erin Andrews was doing sidelines for that game. And I guess she is a big Cardinals fan because she had a Cardinals hat on, and there was a little TV monitor you could go to. And I remember her between breaks going to the side to watch the Mets Cardinals game to see the updates. And then we got to the post game, and it was Al Groh's press conference, who was the Virginia coach. And he was on, I don't remember who won the game. I couldn't tell you, but he was on the stage, and in the press room, there was the TVs all upon it. And I remember watching Al Groh talk and seeing Carlos Beltran strike out all at the same time. And that is like engraved in my head as a moment I'll never forget.
And you couldn't even react. You couldn't even like react like I did trashing a dorm room. You just like had to internalize all that anger. Like, you know,
I was just like, it was just like, and then Al Groh's up there like, we could have run the ball, but whatever the fuck he was saying. And I'll never forget that. And I'll be like, I'll never forget that memory. So I didn't actually see a lot of that game. I saw bits and pieces, and the whole ninth, ironically, that press conference was the whole ninth inning. It was crazy.
Like, could you just shut the hell up, man? I don't care about
well, I thought you would enjoy that too as a Jets fan.
Oh yeah, goddamn Al Groh. The guy beat his team into the ground that year. Like, they started off like really well. I feel like they they beat Keyshawn in Tampa, and that was great. And they started off probably like 4-0 or something good. And of course, they had their usual like collapses because apparently his practices were like out of control. He was a one and done. None.
Yeah, no, people hated him at Virginia. If it makes you feel any better.
No, it doesn't actually. But like with the Jets, I think some of my biggest heartaches were also the Doug Bryan game. That was bad. That was really bad, especially since one of my close friends, Eric, is a big Steelers fan. I didn't like that. That was rough because that was like, oh my God, we're gonna, this is like Curtis Martin's year. You know what I mean? Like, because '98, like, yeah, that was my favorite year in '98 when they went 12-4. They got to the championship game. But like going to Denver, like, yeah, they were winning and the fumbles and this and whatever happened, the kickoff that went into the wind. I'm over it, of course. But, like those things happen. But going into that game, I didn't have confidence. Like they actually are going to win this game. You know what I mean? It was kind of like, this is all house money at this point. Like we were 1-15 2 years ago. Like, this is a great year already. I mean, as far as like, I'm not happy they lost, but whatever.
Yes. Well, the house money thing is it's impactful. That's how I felt about the Nets when they made it to the finals against the Lakers. When they lost those games, I just didn't really even care because it was just like house money that they were there when they were a 26-win team the year before. But the next year when they lost to the Spurs, then it was like they were in it. I thought they could win some of those games. But the biggest hurting loss for me was Nets Celtics Eastern Conference Finals Game 3 in Boston. Nets held a 25-point lead in the fourth and blew it. And that was rough. And it's like seeing Paul Pierce and Antoine Walker get on top of the scorers table and cheer. And then knowing the Nets just went down 2-1 in the series with Boston getting the home court. That was hard to see.
Over. Yeah, you knew it was over.
Well, the Nets won the next three. So they won the series and went to the final. So no, it wasn't over. But the point I was trying to make is you don't know your Nets history is that loss sucked.
I don't care. That's probably no.
You don't have to care. No, the Nets have never lost to the Celtics in the playoffs. Well, I recently. I don't think they played them when the Celtics were great. The Nets weren't seeing them, but the Nets.
I didn't know that.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
Yeah, it was down. It was 01-02 season. Celtics went up 2-1 in the series. Nets then won Game 4 in Boston, won Game 5 in New Jersey, which I was at, which was my favorite sporting event I've ever been to, and then went to Boston, won Game 6, made it to the finals. That was my senior year of high school.
That was your favorite sporting event ever? Really? That one?
Yeah, to go to, yeah. It was my favorite sports wins ever were Nets versus the Celtics in Game 5 and 6. Giants winning the Super Bowl 42 versus the Patriots is one of my favorite wins ever. That could be my favorite win ever, actually. That was tremendous. And then with the Mets, it was so much just close. I mean, the some of those wins versus the Dodgers with Murphy were fun of recent.
Oh, but that was great. Yeah.
That was great. That was a lot of fun. You know what would be weird is you and I watching a sports game like the Mets and agreeing. That sounds odd.
Yeah, that sounds awful, actually. I think it'd be more fun to like go to a Knicks-Nets game together. You know what I mean? And like live stream it.
I don't know if I could handle going to a Knick-Knack game with you. That might be so annoying. I'm not kidding.
If you don't like me, I'm the worst guy to go to a game with. I'm
Do you yell?
Yelling. Oh yeah. Especially at a football game. If you went to I went to a Jets Giants game. I went to all of them obviously, but like the ones when the Jet Giant gun. One of my worst losses, obviously, as a Jet fan, was the Victor Cruz 99 yards touchdown.
Yeah, that was another great Giant win. That was all the same season. No, that's not. That was Super Bowl 46. Excuse me. That was 4 years later. Anyway,
yes.
Go on.
Who cares? But it was the second Super Bowl season of
the second one, the second year.
And so at the time, our seats, when my dad and we had the tickets, we were there. We were sitting in the end zone. He's running towards us. Like we're like 19 rows up in the corner. So like we're watching it. It's like, is this really fucking happening? He's running down the field towards us, and he throws the ball against the fucking wall, and he does start doing the salsa, and I'm just like, and it's like one of those things now I'm gonna have to hear it from all my friends and like on Twitter, and just it was like that was one of the worst losses, and of course they haven't recovered since, and that was terrible. So then a couple years ago, with the one shining year the Jets had the 10-6 debacle with in Buffalo, but that year they had the Jets Giants that year. I went to the game with my buddy who had Giant tickets, and we went. So I was the one Jets fan in the area, and I was like screaming and yelling, and Brandon Marshall catches the touchdown. I'm going nuts, and like I'm like my friend looked at me, he's like, I'm never bringing you to a game again. Like, he's like, I've never. I mean, we don't talk anymore. He's an asshole, but that's another story. But he's like, I'm out in the hallway, and
he sounds awful.
What? He sounds
never mind.
No, I know. But I'm in the hallway after the game. My friend's taking a piss or something. I'm out in the hallway, just like, yeah, like slapping five of Jet fans who are going by, screaming, and like some Giant fan walks by and like shoulder bumps me in the back. I try to grab him, and he like starts running away. He's like, yeah, you fucking pussy! I'm like all jacked up. It was like you don't want to go to game with me. That was bad.
See, do you remember?
That was a great moment though for me. That was fun.
Do you remember Eastern Conference Finals, Pacers versus Bulls, Game 4? I think it was Game 4, which we'll probably see on The Last Dance. Reggie Miller slightly pushes off Michael Jordan and hits a three.
Threw him into the half court, on the other side of
the Do you know the play I'm talking about?
Yes. And then he jumps around in circles, and he's like, jump around, Reggie. Like the announcer.
And then, okay, so and when he hits that shot, do you know who the head coach of the Pacers is at the time?
Larry Brown? Or
Larry Bird.
Sorry, Larry Bird.
Jeez, sometimes I'm like, do you know basketball? You're getting on my nerves.
Larry Brown was the Pacers coach? I mean, come on.
Yeah, but that team, it was Larry Bird.
I know.
And what's the
answer too quick? I'm sorry. Go ahead.
And when they show Larry Bird, what does he look like after that shot?
I don't remember.
This is really annoying me. I don't know. He's stoic. He's not even smiling. He's not even excited.
Yeah.
That is me watching games. There's so much internal anxiety that's happening inside. You wouldn't even know that I was excited after good plays. Now, don't get me wrong. I'll cheer, and I'll get upset. But I hold so much of it in. It's like it's not even. I'm like the exact opposite of you, is what I'm trying to say. And I tried to use this whole setup with Larry Bird and capture the audience. It didn't work.
Yeah, well, that's me. That either. I guarantee you, if you ask, like, you polled 100 people, nobody would remember that. You want
to know why? Okay, remember this moment, because Sunday night when you're watching The Last Dance, they are going to show that fucking play 8,000 times, okay? And they are going to show Larry Bird, and that is going to be a huge talking point in this whole fucking country on Monday. And you're going to send me a text Sunday night and go, Mike, I'm sorry. I will guarantee that.
Well, we'll see. It's a Jordan fluff piece, as we know. So we'll see if they even show that.
This is not. They will show Larry Bird's reaction after Reggie hits that shot. Right, I will. We want to bet on that.
We'll do another crossover episode next week, and so people can hear the reaction. But yeah, no, I don't want to bet on it. No, I'm not betting on that, because you could be right. I have no.
I could be right.
I have no recollection. All I remember is Reggie Miller pushing off and jumping in circles, and then me probably just changing the channel. So
I cannot wait for you to see this. I'm contemplating sending you a YouTube clip, but then I'm like, you know what? I think don't do that. Don't look.
No, I won't.
And we'll watch it on Sunday night together. Not together, but it's like, whatever. Yeah. We'll watch it Sunday. We'll watch it Sunday night, and you'll text me back, and you'll go, "Oh man, I really fucked that up again." I cannot wait for that moment. But I watch basketball.
When I'm wrong. It's really funny. You love when I'm like wrong about something. It's cool.
Yes, that's fair.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's okay.
But you put yourself out there. I'm like you put yourself to be vulnerable. Yeah, you don't care. I'm not as bombastic and I don't know what the word is, but like,
who cares? Yeah,
I'm not out there on Twitter making these, like, I'm not into it. You know what I mean? There's nothing you get on me like, oh, your Subway food review sucks. But like, okay, fine. It's like my gimmick. It's like, okay, fine. But I'm not doing anything controversial like you with your big takes. So yeah, I do enjoy that. But what I'm trying to say is that's how I am at sporting events. I get kind of just quiet, and I'm internal, and I get really crazy in my head. So I think you and I would be a very, although we emote it differently. Obviously, we both are passionate and care the same, but it would come across very differently.
Yeah. No. I mean, I'm crazy when I'm watching, especially the Jets on a Sunday, because every game means so much, especially in the beginning of the season before they're out of it. But I'm screaming and yelling at the TV. I'm the guy who's up and like I'm clapping. I'm like I'm crazy person. Hannah's like my fiance Hannah's like, what is wrong with, like, she doesn't get it. She's like, you have a problem. Like they can't hear you. Like, you know what I mean? Like I'm screaming at them. What are you doing? Like, kind of a thing. So
Gage, you shouldn't run the ball. You know that. You're setting it up. It's too predictable. It's too predictable.
Yeah. Run. Like, stop. You're using left down wrong, you moron. Yeah, exactly.
First down run, second down run. Now it's 3rd and 8. We do this every time. You got to mix it up. A little play action. This is how like football fans talk. What are they doing? If I can see this, why can't he see this? They're all in the box. You got to spread it out.
You're running the same set over and over. What is wrong with it? How, if I know it, how do they not know it? Yeah, I know.
$23 million for Le'Veon Bell, and this is what we do. We got to get him in the flat. Sorry.
That's okay. So we went back to favorite sports memories in person. So you said yours, right? There was that Nets you said a Nets win, right? What was it? What was the other one?
Nets win over the Celtics. Favorite win in person. Nets win over the Celtics in Game 5 to put them up 3-2 to go to Game 6 of the Eastern Conference Finals, and then in a close second was Nets sweeping the Pistons to go to the NBA Finals. But to be honest, the first time, even though it wasn't a win to get to the finals, there was something about winning that year because it was so new that made it feel extra special.
Okay. That's cool.
Yeah, and I don't think anybody wants to hear yours, so don't worry about it.
Okay. All right. Well, then
fine, you can go. Let's hear yours. I want to hear it.
Well, a lot of my favorite in-person ones are Jets games because I went to every single one. So, like the favorite one obviously is the 1998 one against the Jaguars, the divisional round playoff win when they had the energy of the crowd. I've never felt it like that before or since, where it was just like the Rex Ryan years, sort of. But that, like, it was just everybody was so positive. Like, yo, we're going to kick the crap out of these guys. Like, they have no chance. We got the bye. We're going to win this game. And Keyshawn runs for a touchdown. He catches a touchdown. He even gets an interception at the end of the game, like on a Hail Mary. Yeah. That was a party. I mean, I know the game, it was close and whatever, but it was never in doubt.
Right.
You know, the Jets never really thought they were going to lose that game. That was my highlight Jets moment in person. Another fun one was let's switch it up sports. It was probably 1999 with the Subway Series, the Mets Yankees, when Matt Franco wins the game on a walk off like a blooper. I just remember jumping up and down. Like that was fun. I went to the NLDS, the Mets Dodgers one when and Murphy just went nuts. The game one with Harvey game when everybody's chanting Harvey.
That's cool. That was good energy.
That was fucking freezing. That was I was freezing. Yeah. I remember there was one somebody hit it. I think it was Lagares. I was sitting in left field, like front row, like in the outfield, and Lagares I think hit one, and everybody in the stadium stood up like, oh, it's gone, and it was like a pop up to left, and it was like, wow, the wind is crazy. Like that was like
so. You're talking about Game 3, the Cespedes home run when they won like 14-8 or something.
No, game one it was the Dodgers, the NLCS, not DS. The Cubs. Then I'm sorry, it was the Cubs. Yeah, it was the Cubs. I'm sorry. Yeah, game one with Harvey and the Cubs. And
so I'm not as dumb as I sound. I remember some of these.
Hey, listen, I'm not saying I'm an expert. No, I'm just
well, it sounds like it. Oh, so you're talking about the Cubs win. Okay, I remember that.
Yeah,
yes,
the Cubs game one when Harvey just mowed everybody down. I just remember I was trying to explain. My dad's a big baseball fan, but he doesn't like follow all the players. He just loves watching them. He'll watch every baseball game. He'll watch every basketball game. He'll watch every football game. But he's not like listening to sports radio. He's not doing transactions. Like, oh, we got this guy now. Okay,
let's go. No, I feel you.
And so, like, I'm sitting there the whole game. I'm like, Harvey's mowing everybody down. I'm like, oh, this Chris Bryant guy, he's coming up. He's really good. Like, look out for him. And like, by the end of the game, he's laughing. He's like, who gives a shit who these guys are? Harvey's killing everybody. Like, it's just like, so funny.
Oh, that's a good moment.
That was a great moment. And it was cool because that was my first time that I got a chance to go to a Mets playoff game, because in 2006 and around then, I was like in college and running around. I was a broke college kid, or right after college broke, so I didn't have the money to go, and I wasn't, And then in 2000, I guess we just didn't go when I was in high school for around 99, 2000. So that was my first baseball playoff game, Mets playoff game.
I went to Mets Braves game 3 in the playoffs. That was the Ventura walk-off grand slam year. Single. Yeah. I was not at that game, but I was at the 2 games prior to it. And I'll never forget, Rocker blew one of the games, and where we were sitting, you could see him come off the field and mock to the fans, even though he kind of blew it. The game wasn't over, but he blew the lead, and he put 3 fingers in the air one hand and a 0 with the other hand. He went, it's 3-0. And I was like, that man, I've never heard so much vitriol for somebody in a ballpark in my life. Like, that was like, this motherfucker is going to get killed. Could you imagine John Rocker today spewing that nonsense?
Oh, he'd be a legend. He would have like 3 million followers on Twitter if John Rocker was pitching right now, because yeah, I mean, he was hated, but just his persona was before his time. He was Ocho Cinco before Ocho Cinco. He was all
Yeah,
about.
but also his like his racist rants. Like,
Oh yeah, well that
imagine
yeah, I'm trying to avoid that. Like, and talking about like the people with blue hair on the subway and things like
Oh
that.
my god!
Yeah,
Oh my
that was.
god!
It's like, dude, what is wrong with you? Like,
Oh,
yeah. Go back into your hole. But more of were you one of the guys who were like throwing batteries at him in the outfield or something like
no,
that?
no, I wasn't doing that. I would have been. This is what 99, 2000. I was
Yeah,
16,
high school.
17. Yeah. So these good
Hardcore high
net
school.
memories. We're bonding here, Alex.
Yeah. See, we have the one team we have in common.
Oh man, this is getting a little too mushy for me. All right. We could. Do you want to talk a little Last Dance? Do you want to give it for a minute? What you thought? What's that?
No, it was good. Last Dance is cool. We do the weekly poll question too, but the Last Dance is getting better. It was the gambling stuff that I've been looking forward to seeing because I know Jordan. I still don't buy that. That his father's murder wasn't an assassination as opposed to a random robbery, or random murder. I don't buy it. I still don't buy the description. I just don't. I just feel like. I don't know if it was a suspension but Stern told him like, dude, just you got to get away. Like you have to do something. You have to get away. And maybe Jordan wanted to get away. Maybe it was like a mutual decision. Like we have to do this. But retiring and saying I always just wanted to play baseball. I think it's a bunch of BS. Or that he was just spent is a bunch of BS because he found motivation from some nobody on the Bullets, scoring 20 something points on him to come the next day and bust his ass. You know what I mean? Like, so if you're telling me that Michael Jordan couldn't find motivation, like the motivation is, I want to win more than a 3-peat. I want to win 7 in a row. Like that would have been the motivation. You know what I mean? Like, so he would have found it. He was spent at the end of the season. I don't buy that. That Jordan conspiracy theory, I think has more weight to me than anything else because then you have all of his friends on the Last Dance saying, oh, he told me the year before that he was thinking of retiring. I don't know how anybody could say that he was doing it just because of the gambling. Like, well, where's the documentation? And you're going to say that's BS. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's just whatever. It doesn't matter. We'll never know the answer. I just don't think he's this pristine guy, and I'm glad that people are starting to really see that because I never thought Jordan was this pristine respectable guy. Like if he just the guy that really benefited from playing in an era before social media. No other athlete is like that. But he was like towards the beginning of the TMZ era. I don't know if it was TMZ back then, but like with the because at the same time was like the Nancy Kerrigan, Tanya Harding stuff was going on, and then sports was like really starting. ESPN was really taking off, and like trying to get the 24/7 news cycles. Was really taking off. So he was like the beginning of that. So. Anyway, that was a long rant, but
we should do a spin-off episode. And I'm not even kidding here. And I'm thinking you're going to be into this, but maybe I'm wrong and I could be dead wrong. I would like to do a JFK assassination spin-off episode. Your thoughts?
No, thanks. I don't care.
No, not into that. That's a conspiracy theory you don't get into.
Well, I mean, I think that there's a lot of probably people that had something to do with it that were.
I got you. See, you're in it. You're in it.
In it, but I need to really like do my homework on it to really speak on it. I don't like speaking on things I don't really know 100%. I mean, especially on.
So then you shouldn't be on Twitter at all after all the bullshit I see you tweet.
Oh, like what? Name one.
I'm just joking.
I'm ready.
I'm like, dude, I'm giving you a hard time. I muted you months ago, by the way. I don't even know what you're saying. Okay. Read me the poll question this week. What did you put on there? What was your stupid Knicks question of the day? I'm kidding again. I actually like your polls.
We do weekly a poll question. So for people on the crossover on Mike Delivers. So on Bad Weather Fans,
thank you for being a good host.
Mike Delivers. So Mike Delivers fans, how are you? Yeah,
Are you hitting on my fan? Are you hitting on them? What was that? You're like, hey, what's up, baby? What's up, you people that are into nachos delivered in a 2017 Toyota Rav4?
If you love Uber Eats, you will love this poll question that we do on Bad Weather Fans. So weekly, I put out on my Twitter account at Nick Central. We put out a poll question just based on whatever is the hot topic with Knicks fans for the week, and I just do a poll question, and then we read some of the responses on the air. So have you seen, Mike? Have you seen the video of Mitch Robinson in the gym? He's crossing people up, he's shooting threes, and he looks like Kevin Durant. Before the Achilles injury. Have you seen that? Okay.
And for those people that are listening to Mike Delivers, this is a basketball player that Knick fans are hoping becomes a good one that most of America has never heard of. Continue.
Yes. I think he is already a good one. I mean,
I'm
he's
just
a great.
I'm
Yeah.
being an ass. Go ahead.
No. He's pretty much the next DeAndre Jordan before he was on the Nets, like the Clippers DeAndre Jordan, not this version of DeAndre Jordan.
All
But
right,
the
let's
not the one that's overpaid
slow
right
it down
now,
a little bit. All
not
right,
the
let's
overpaid
slow it
DeAndre
down.
Jordan, but the one that was paid well and for his talent back in the Clippers. So he can't shoot, or quote unquote can't shoot. He can't dribble. But there's a video of him just crossing everybody up in the gym and shooting threes and step back threes, and he looks like Kevin Durant from the Thunder. And so I wrote, Knicks fans always fall into this mode of, like, you see these practice videos, whether it was Hoodie Mello, whether it was Dennis Smith Jr., Duncan, whether it was Frank Ntilikina, which I think I don't want to hate on Ntilikina because I love Ntilikina, but like, he's not like a all pro, if that's even a term in the NBA. He's not an all-star. Yeah. So everybody get excited about it. So I said, the Mitchell Robinson's practice video. As a Knicks fan, does this get you legit excited? I put legit in caps because, you want it to be legit. Yes, with exclamations, or no, but I love Mitch, but chill. So it's no, I love Mitch, but chill, or yes, with exclamations. Like, I'm super legit excited.
I would say, I'd be excited. Yeah, I'd be excited. Although I'd take it with a grain of salt. So maybe the no one then. I just persuaded myself.
No, love Mitch, but chill. Yeah. That was the answer. We had, over 400 votes, or 377 to be exact. Decent amount. So 52%, 52.8% no, love Mitch, but chill. And yeah, it was close. Yes, 47.2%.
I would say this to Knicks fans listening. There's videos like that of Ben Simmons shooting threes. So it's not exactly, right. It's very different. Obviously, that's a good sign. I mean, it's good to see that he's doing that, but it's very different in an NBA game shooting threes with dudes in front of you in live action than when you're just chilling at the gym doing that. Like, I could make threes like that. Not that good. But point is, there's Ben Simmons videos of him shooting threes, and you're like, oh my God. And then he gets in the game and he's like, he won't do it. Now, he might have more mental issues than Mitch, and maybe Mitch will develop a shot. Who knows in today's NBA? But I agree with let's take a chill pill. This is just practice, not the game. I think sometimes we don't realize how good these guys are. Like, They are so good that we take for granted when they're competing against each other at the high level because they neutralize each other a little. Just when they're alone, just how good these guys really are.
Yeah, like Brian Scalabrine was looked at as a joke, but he would cook you like on a one-on-one. Like a regular everyday guy walking down the street, he would dominate you 21-0 in a game of one-on-one. You know what I mean?
It's so funny how people think that, like, oh, I could play up and I know you hate this guy, so that I think this is like the perfect example for today's NBA. But like Jared Dudley. Okay, I know you don't like him and you hate everything he represents or whatever, but people are like, oh, I could play like Jared Dudley. Are you out of your mind?
He would crush me. Yeah.
I mean, he's an NBA role player. I mean, come on.
Right. He's not an ex-NBA player that's 50 years old and out of shape. He's like...
Those guys would still kill you.
Like Charles Barkley right now probably would still
Mitch Richmond would destroy you right now.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know why he jumped in my head. Mitch might be in great shape. I don't know.
Twitter, actually. That's pretty funny. But ex-St. John's assistant coach. That's my favorite college team, actually. We never talked about that. What's your favorite college team?
Well, probably... it's probably Syracuse because I went there.
Syracuse. Okay.
My rookie year, holy shit! My freshman year at Syracuse was the year Melo was a freshman. They won the title. Did you know that?
Oh, nice.
That was it. Now that I think about it, I won't go into it now, but there were a lot of good memories of going to games from that season.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Syracuse title year, because that was my freshman year, and I had season. You know what it's like in college? You could get season tickets, and it was like $120 for 15 games. There was so many. It was cool. Like all the good players I saw that came through there. Chris Bosh on Georgia Tech as a freshman, averaging like 8 points a game. I'd be like, this guy's not that good. It was just, and then remember seeing a lot of Michael Sweetney in Georgetown, UConn, a lot of good dudes. With Emeka, Ben Gordon, that was kind of my era. So that was kind of cool. No, but yeah.
Actually, I didn't know that about you. So maybe we might have some friends in common that we don't realize, because I had some friends that went to Syracuse at that time too.
They probably all suck.
They were girls.
And I probably didn't know them. Did you want to read some of the responses there? Anything good?
Sure. Yeah, I tagged a few to read. So we have his name is Flex Howard at LeBron_in4th. Yes, because even if it is usable right now, if it's not usable right now, that's potential cash in a few years. Okay. So Just Terrible says at Just the Worst Guy. So he sounds like a great guy. Remember the videos of Randall making all those step back threes in the offseason? Remember DSJ shooting in the offseason video? Let's chill. Dylan Crawley, he's actually cool, at Dylan_Crawley. I mean, yes and no. It's amazingly impressive to watch a big man handle the rock like that, but I don't know how I feel watching him shake down someone in an actual game. I have like about 3 more that I tag. So Damon718 at Sakeem13. It's cool, very cool that at his size he can do that. Until he's able to do that in a regular season game and be consistent with it, then I will continue to temper any excitement. Cool video though. At Vinny Max 1. Weren't we seeing videos of him shooting threes like this last year? Which we were. Then another guy, Dope Man, which is at JBIZERK. It's actually my boy John. I grew up with him. He goes, "This is cool, but nah, he needs to stay his ass in the paint unless we draft Wiseman with a bunch of fire emojis. You know, the prospect.
He's
2 more.
Never. Sorry, go ahead.
I know, like Wiseman, because he wrote ends, like a bunch of ends, so kind of I was like, what?
We got to get Wiseman. Sorry.
We got to get a wise man. Okay, then at Cash Walkin, how can this not get you excited? I don't expect him to come back and have all this in his game, but I honestly have no idea he could even dribble like this. I'm just excited for the same reason I was excited for him before, the sky-high ceiling. Then at Dat Franco, not really. I've been excited for Mitch. I would love to see this during games. Kid is balling, getting to his spot and hitting the step back. Okay, and that's what we got. So a lot of mixed emotions. I think a lot of I think what it is, like Knicks fans, they're just excited to see something, and they're like, "Oh my god, if Mitchell Robinson can develop even half of this in a regular NBA game, then like holy crap, like look what we got." And I think just relax. I think he's great. I think he can dunk it on everybody, and that's cool and all, but calm down. By the way, I saw let me real quick before we end it. I saw a stat, most alley-oops in the NBA this year. It was like Lakers were number 1, and the Nets were number 2, and the Knicks were number 3 with like 84, I say, alley-oop dunks.
Yeah.
How many of them do you think were Mitchell Robinson?
Out of 84?
Yeah, 84-ish.
72.
Wrong. 77 of them were Mitchell Robinson. How insane is that? Or 75, whatever it is. But either way.
So like 90%.
Yeah, how insane is that? Like that's his entire game, but it's fine because he can jump over everybody. So who cares? Like,
and I'll look at the other approach. The Knicks just don't have anybody else that's athletic. I'll take the negative side of it. Oh, God, sorry. All right, just like in the Mike Delivers podcast right here with Bad Weather Fans, always like to read the comment at the end. This one comes from Cali LA fan, and he says or she says, "Awesome. Love it. 5 stars. Mike and Alex do a great job. I just subscribed and caught up on all of the shows. I love the pod and can't wait for the next episode." So, yeah, just like Mike Delivers, Bad Weather Fans, go ahead. Please give a 5-star rating, comment on, and we'll read it at the end of the episode. Alex, good stuff. Good time talking about memories, talking about what did we even start this thing with? Oh, yeah, why you hate the Nets and the Net fans and the great culture that's been established. But this crossover episode was a little fun. And, guys, if you want to hear more, head out, check out Bad Weather Fans with Mike and Alex. You can find it at theprosclub.com or where all major podcasts are found, just like you're finding this bad boy.
Yeah. And next episode, we'll go into detail of Eric Piatkowski's entire career. Like we said, no, I'm just kidding. I'm killing that joke. Yeah. So I'm not going to even explain it.
We should get Eric Piatkowski on the podcast. I'm going to actually go look into that.
That'd be great. I mean, Michael Jordan dropped 49 points on him in double overtime once when he was, that was glorified in The Last Dance. So, it's
what do you think he's doing right now, Eric Piatkowski?
He's definitely listening to Bad Weather Fans with Mike and Alex, 100%. He downloaded and subscribed and gave us 5 stars. He's probably the LA guy, that person or girl that gave the comment. No, I don't know what he's doing. I'm sure maybe he's in college, like every ex-NBA player, it feels like. But whatever. Well, shout out to Eric Piatkowski.
Thank you, Eric, for downloading the podcast. Alex, I guess we'll leave it at that, and we'll talk next week. All right.
Ends the podcast. All right, Mike. Have a good one.
Bye.